If the first chapter of our American dog history was written in ice, pottery, and swamp, the second was written in iron, wood, and social status. The Spanish brought the biological tanks of the Reconquista to break the world. The Dutch brought the industrious partners of the merchant class to build a home. And the English, they brought a social ladder made of pedigrees and watched as the American wilderness forced those blue bloods to trade their elegance for grit. The Spanish dog was a thunderclap on the coast. In the 1500s, the Spanish didn't arrive to settle. They arrived for the Entrada. That's a military penetration of a world they intended to break. They brought a technology the Americas had never seen, the war dog. These were not pets. They were the Spanish Mastiff and the Alano, a 100-plus pound biological tank bred for the Reconquista in Europe. We know exactly how these dogs lived because the Spanish were meticulous. In the archives of the Indies, dogs like Becerrillo and his son Leonico aren't listed as animals. They are listed as soldiers. They received a soldier's ration of dried meat and bread. They had a rank. They had a salary.
Look at this. This is an Escaupiles. To the modern eye, it looks like a dog in a coat. To an indigenous warrior in the Florida scrub, it was terrifying. It was thick quilted cotton armor designed to turn away arrows. A dog in Escaupiles was nearly invulnerable.
When these armored beasts met the pottery dogs of the Southwest, it was a slaughter of philosophies. The Spanish brought dominion. They brought the spiked leather collar, not for fashion, but to ensure that if a wolf or a man went for the dog's throat, they hit iron. Does this warrior still exist? Look at the Catahoula leopard dog or the Plott hound of North Carolina. When you see that brindle tiger stripe or that relentless track and hold instinct, you are looking at the genetic echo of the Entrada. You are looking at a dog that was bred to never, ever let go. But as we move north to the Hudson Valley in the 1600s, the iron of the soldier softens into the wood of the merchant. The Dutch didn't arrive as an army. They arrived as a company, the Dutch West India Company. They didn't build forts. They built the Boerderij, the farm. And they brought a dog that reflected the middle class of Europe, the Kooikerhondje, and the Dutch Shepherd. This is the moment the dog moves inside. The Dutch lived in the Huis. And for the first time in the settler story, the dog lived there too. This was the Hearth dog.
Look at the tail on this Kooikerhondje. See the white tip? That wasn't an accident. In the marshes of the Hudson, these dogs worked the Eendenkooy, the duck decoys. They would weave through the reeds, their white tails flashing like a signal fire, luring wild ducks into nets so the family could eat.
While the Spanish dog was a weapon, the Dutch dog was a partner. The Dutch Shepherd was the generalist and had to be smart enough to guard the grain from the rodents and the children from the wilderness. They were scruffy, camouflaged, and intelligent. The Kooikerhondje is a living heirloom. If you see one today with those signature black earrings of fur on its ears, you are looking at the exact same dog that sat on a porch in New Amsterdam in 1625. They survived because the Dutch valued the type. A dog that was as practical and industrious as the humans who held the leash. Finally, we reach the English. And if the Spanish were about power and the Dutch were about partnership, the English were about status. In the early plantations of Virginia and Massachusetts, your dog was your resume.
The elite, the Squirearchy, brought the Foxhound and the Greyhound. These were specialists. They were symbols of land ownership and the gentleman's code. To own a hound was to claim a title, but the working class, the people planted to do the labor, brought the terrier and the cur. This is where the English class system met the reality of the Salkehatchie swamp. Imagine a foxhound bred for the manicured, rolling hills of England suddenly standing in this. It's 98 degrees. The water is black. There is a 12-foot alligator watching from the reeds. The English brought the pedigree and the leash. They thought they could order the woods, but the woods fought back. In these early settlements, a prestigious bloodline was no protection against a black bear. To survive, these English specialists had to devolve. They had to trade their elegance for grit. When you look at an American foxhound today, it is taller, leaner, and faster than its English cousin. Why? Because it had to learn to run. It had to learn to run through the American scrub. It had to stop being a gentleman's dog and start being a survivor. It had to become the American hound, a dog that belongs to the woods, not the manor.
The soldier, the partner, the specialist. The dogs of the second wave didn't walk across a land bridge. They sailed across an ocean. They brought the baggage of Europe, its wars, its commerce, and its class systems, and they dumped it all onto the shores of the Americas. But America changed them. The heat of the Florida scrub, the mud of the Hudson, and the shadows of the Appalachian woods stripped away the old world polish. The Spanish Mastiff became the farm protector. The Dutch duck dog became the family companion. The English hound became the rugged pioneer. We think we domesticated these dogs to fit our new nation, but the truth is closer to the opposite. These dogs were the scouts. They were the ones who tested the air, felt the water, and fought the predators before we even stepped off the porch. They didn't just follow us into the new world, they made the new world habitable. America 250, the dogs. Because our history isn't just written in ink. It's written in paw prints, from the deck of a galleon to the front porch of a farmhouse. Before we were a nation, we were a pack.
This is America 250, the dogs. This has been episode 2.